If alcohol was a communicable disease, like H1N1, a national emergency would be declared. And perhaps we would get comments like this: all the family violence you can see, all those poor babies and young kids that are being bashed. How long is this country going to allow this kind of thing to continue? It's an issue that's been under the carpet, and maybe it's time it was brought out into the open. So this is the Herald on Sunday, 21st of March this year, said by Alistair Burry, talking about the pee epidemic. Alcohol is 50 times as big as pee. And I would like to suggest that if alcohol was a new drug, a national crisis would be declared. Now, of course, consumerism is as old as civilization itself. As soon as human groups got unyoked from spending 6 to 8 hours a day trying to find food, people started purchasing and consuming in excess of their basic needs. And that's just part of human nature, if you like, and the kind of environments that we've created. The issue is that alcohol is no ordinary commodity, and secondly, the presence of business corporations. Corporation, an ingenious device for obtaining profit without individual responsibility. I think the presence of global corporations that have power that are bigger than governments, I think, is a real feature of modern life. The alcohol industry actively markets alcohol to young people. So youth, 15 through 24, is a nearly perfect market for the alcohol industry. It's that wonderful, exuberant stage in our lives when we've still got a rather disconnected brain, which allows us to have this natural exuberance and happiness. But if you can get young people drinking regularly in their teens, then you've got them customers for life, just like the tobacco industry. And every advertisement seen by a young person, 15 through 24, increases the number of drinks they consume by 1%. Previously, the alcohol industry has denied, and will continue to deny, that they market to young people, but we now have evidence from an insider, and there will be more insiders come forward over time, guaranteed. But this person tells us that the industry has deliberately targeted young people by sweetening ready-to-drink alcohol pops to mask the taste of alcohol and get them going. The relative safety of drugs is determined by a safety ratio, which is the lethal dose of the drug divided by a typical recreational dose. And you can see here that ethanol is closer to heroin than it is to ecstasy, and it's on par with methamphetamine. We would see ethanol there as a Class B drug, which really brings some poignancy, doesn't it, to the fact that at the current time you can get this Class B drug 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at supermarkets, and often served by teenagers. Just imagine if it was morphine or deamphetamine that's being served 24 hours a day at cheap price in supermarkets. The incestuous relationship between government and big business thrives in the dark. The alcohol industry plays two games, one behind the scenes, the charm offensive with our politicians, and at the public level, they're into blaming the people with the problem and really perpetrating the idea that it's individuals who are causing the problem. If we really do want a safer and healthier society, we need to find a new middle ground between these two extremes. The excessive commercialization of alcohol, which is where we are at the current time, and at the other extreme is prohibition. The 5+ solution then are these things. We've got to raise alcohol prices, raise the purchase age, reduce alcohol accessibility, reduce marketing and advertising, increase drink driving countermeasures, plus increase treatment opportunities for heavy drinkers. There is a robust relationship between the price of alcohol and how much is drunk in a population. And more recently, 112 studies were put through a meta-analysis, and price came through as the easiest thing that a government can do, the easiest and most effective thing that a government can do to decrease alcohol-related problems in a society. We need to introduce a minimum price per unit of alcohol. The purpose of that is to reduce harmful drinking. We need that as a foundation to stop the immense discounting that can occur in some outlets. We've got to raise the purchase age, and Kip Kipri has done the work and showed that there have been 430 tragedies on the road, 15 to 19-year-old, since the purchase age was dropped. Currently, the alcohol industry spends $200,000 a day normalising and maintaining the heavy drinking culture. And what are they spending this on? They're spending it on using young women to market alcohol to young men. This is sort of 13 through 30-year-olds, or maybe even more than 30-year-olds, distracting the boys from the task at hand since 1889. And equally using pretty young women to market alcohol to women, young women, 13 through 30. Pursue your day drinks. Pursue your night drinks. It's Friday night, time to light the fuse. Librarian by day, Bacardi by night. We need to reduce alcohol accessibility. Around outlets, we need to return supermarkets and convenience stores to being alcohol-free, and many of us in this room can remember what it was like going to a supermarket and not being confronted at every sort of point around the supermarket with a Class B drug. About half of the marketing budgets are actually spent on sponsorship. And the one big sponsorship deal in New Zealand is really around Mighty All Blacks. And this is 1989, Stand By New Zealand's finest. You can see down in the corner there, the Lion Nathan Steinlager brand. And you can imagine, well, I know for a fact, because I've seen them, these posters in the bedrooms of our youth, mainly young boys, but from an early age, making this association, quiet association between Steinlager, drinking alcohol, and our national icons. We're suggesting a French version of the Loire et Vin, a New Zealand version of the French Loire et Vin, which is their strategy around control and getting better control over advertising and marketing. So no alcohol promotion permitted through television, radio, cinema, billboard, or internet. Just ban it all. No alcohol promotion permitted through sponsorship of sport or cultural events, just like tobacco. Limited advertising around information on the product only, no selling of values or lifestyle, and fourthly and importantly, marketing of alcohol at youth being strictly prohibited. There are three pillars maintaining the national alcohol crisis: this immensely powerful global alcohol industry, political pragmatism of governments, and an idea, the idea that it's individual drinkers who are causing the problem. And what we have is an industry that's kind of brainwashed us all as a population into thinking that life can't be enjoyed without alcohol. So you probably have got this message, warning, the alcohol industry is not your friend. These aren't my words. These are an editorial in 1992 by Lawrence Wallach talking about the 4 key tactics used by the alcohol industry. They portray alcohol as part of the good life. They associate it with sex, fun, success, peer acceptance, and independence. They link alcohol problems with this irresponsible minority, the losers who can't quite handle their alcohol or have a genetic predisposition to it. There are many people with alcohol problems, and it's in the region of 700,000 people with heavy drinking. Each of those heavy drinkers is affecting perhaps 5 other people in a negative way from time to time. That's 3.5 million of the population. That's pretty close to the population of New Zealand.